And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Lakers Postgame, everyone. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. On this week's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, I just dropped just a couple hours ago the State of Pro Wrestling with John Orlando from the PVD cast as we cover the Vince McMahon latest scandal, also as well the WWE and Netflix, the Royal Rumble, the Road to WrestleMania, and more. So go ahead and check out our full hour conversation right there at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Plus also as well, of course, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. We don't have an episode coming up this week. We're going to save it for next week with our Super Bowl predictions, but you want to catch up with all the stuff we've been talking about over the course of the past few weeks, that's right there for you on Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Tell you what, right now, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. It is, once again, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Big shout out to all of our good friends, the Lakerholics, Lakerholics.com. Joe Soro, who will be hosting his Lakers Nightcap tonight, right there for you at, of course, Lakers Fast Break, Lakers Nightcap, and of course, also as well, our good friends, Empire Jeff TV, Lakers in 5, also as well, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, of course, John McCallion channel, and Lakers Corner, and also as well, Clutch Talk with John Costa. Go ahead and check out all these great channels. And speaking of great channels, go ahead and make sure you wish you can, please. Go ahead. Help those programs out. Help those channels out. But again, please, if you can, help out us by going ahead and liking and subscribing right here for us at the Lakers Fast Break. Just to let you know, Sean, Tango Soro, indeed. Just want to let you know as far as that's concerned with the headphone. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching and listening. The Lakers come into tonight after the double overtime victory, one of the best games of the NBA season over Golden State in the middle of the Grammy trip, looking to get another victory against, this time around, a team they've had a hard time dealing with, hard time getting all the players with on the court, and that is the Houston Rockets. And tonight, it looked like the Lakers had just played a double overtime game because tell you what, right now, it looked bad from the get-go. It looked bad from the jump. And I guess what it comes down to is Joe and I talked about during the NBA draft when the Lakers picked Jalen Hood-Schifino. We were screaming before they made the pick to pick Cam Whitmore, to go ahead and choose Cam Whitmore. And unfortunately, they chose Jalen Hood-Schifino. So flash forward a few months later, and the Lakers playing against the Houston Rockets, and the Lakers are down by 4 as Cam Whitmore comes in to finish out the last 4 minutes of the first quarter. He proceeds to explode all over the Lakers and show energy, athleticism, the things that Jalen Hood-Schifino wish he had. But he can't do that very well sitting from the bench, as he watched firsthand the guy that was chosen after him explode on the Lakers for 12 points, giving the Houston Rockets a double-digit lead, and they never looked back from it. As the Lakers fell down by as many as 30 points, had their usual fake comeback in the fourth quarter to get it to 10 points, and unfortunately that was not enough as they ran out of steam. The Lakers lose 135-119. Where are they at, Magic Man? Your old friend again?
Below 500, my old friend. Come to see you again. Gerald, we can't dig ourselves out of this hole.
No, we can't indeed. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. And first man up, first man here. I want to go ahead and make sure he gets the sound off at this point in time. It is the guy behind, of course, Ox1947 at LakersBall.com, and of course, Simblades with the Y.com, and Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, good to have you here. I just remember in June, you and I screaming at the top of our lungs during that broadcast to get Cam Whitmore. You and I were in agreement on it. And just to signify how bad it is right now with the Lakers and the decision-making, I think that's just a little sign right now, just telling you that this might not be the Lakers season we want it to be.
I would fire Darvin Ham right now if I was in charge. If I was in charge, he would have been fired. Well, actually, he would have never been hired, number one. But he should be fired tonight. And the team would be better off just having a coach by committee with Phil Handy and the rest of the crew, because he is absolutely without any doubt that he needs to go. He needs to go. And I'm gonna break down some details for the nightcap tonight on my favorite lineup, which includes Taurean Prince, D'Angelo Russell, and Austin Reeves. The death knell of all lineups is those three playing. And the statistics have been saying this whole year, and he refuses to get off it. Darvin Ham, if you're listening, Taurean Prince, Austin Reeves, and D'Angelo Russell cannot play defense at the same time. And then on top of that, you have LeBron James, who can't play defense for the 37 minutes you're giving him in a loser game like this for some weird reason. And then on top of that, you have a semi-injured AD on top of that. Also, towards the end of the game, you're down 10 and you don't insert AD back into the game to try to maybe win the game. This mother, you know what, needs to go and never be seen again. He needs to go, not just out of the Laker locker room. He needs to never coach in the NBA. He is trash. He is absolute trash. He has no idea what he's doing. And for me, the venom is going to go towards Rob Pelinka and Jeannie right now too. You're letting this happen. You are ending this season now. You are, Jeannie. You and whatever you do these days, and Rob Pelinka, whatever freaking rat hole you're in right now, you got to get out and get rid of this guy. It's better to just get rid of this guy and just try and Bill Russell this at this point. Let LeBron be the coach. He's probably a better coach anyways. It's over. It's over right now. Get rid of Darvin Ham. Get him out of there. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's doing. I'm going to have statistics tonight for the nightcap. I'm going to show you guys what the point differential was when Taurean Prince, Austin Reeves, and D'Angelo Russell were playing at the same time tonight. And you're going to be in shock. You're going to be in shock that I've repeated this how many times, that a jackass like me in the middle of nowhere can recognize this and this idiot can't. Or there's something else going on. What's going on? You're supposed to coach. Why are you not setting this team up to succeed? Stop playing those three guys at the same time. Put in Vando. Put in Jackson Hayes. Put something else in there. These three do not work together. Your main deficiency is you cannot play defense. Every time you put these guys in a lineup, the other team turns into freaking Superman and Batman. Is it that hard to figure out? Is it that hard to figure out? Fire that guy tonight. He needs to go. Just go. He needs to go. There is no more discussion. I don't care if they win 5 games in a row right now. He is not going to help. He is a detriment. He needs to go. And that's LeBron played 37 minutes tonight, folks. He should have sat in the fourth quarter if you weren't going to play to win. You were down 10. You had your little fake run comeback, and you still didn't insert AD back in the game. Then what are we doing this for then? What did you come back for then if you were going to try to win?
I want to go ahead before I get it to you, Sean. I really want to ask them this question, so I apologize. I'll get it to you guys in a second. John and Sean, just be patient for just a little bit while longer. I need to ask Joe this question. I mentioned it in the playback, and I mentioned it in the pregame. Darvin Ham's comments before the game today was that they did try out Cam Whitmore. They did work out Cam Whitmore before the draft, and he called him a bright young superstar that's going to be in our league for a long time. Someone that they knew had a bright upside when they were working him out then. But yet they passed over him for a guy that's now sitting on their bench and playing in garbage time.
You believe
that
him?
is absolutely bad on both ends of the floor.
I think that's a cop out, bull crap, horse crap, every kind of crap that comes out of an anus comment. I don't believe him. If that was the case, then why don't you draft him? You draft the best player when you are drafting in the NBA, especially in the NBA. We've talked about this before. Why didn't you draft him then, numbnuts? Why didn't you draft him if he's the best athlete and he's amazing and he's going to be great? That's the guy you needed. He scored 20 points tonight, barely playing. He barely played. And I don't even know why Udoka took him out. I don't even know why he took him out. I'm like, why are you taking him out? This guy is running a 4.2 40 next to guys running 5.4 40s. He was dunking like LeBron was dunking 12 years ago. What are you waiting for? He's amazing. He could jump out the building. He's an amazing athlete. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. But we went with Hood Schifino because, we don't want somebody that's good.
Yeah, I hear you. My friend. It just absolutely boggles the mind.
Get rid of Darvin Ham. Oh, man, I can't. What am I going to say? It's like banging your head on the wall at this point. I don't like I don't like anyone on this team above the team. Like, I can't stand them. The sheer look of Darvin Ham, I just want to choke something. And where's the owner? Where's the GM? Where are these people? What the hell are they doing? Fire him. You're not going to win this year already. Why are you allowing this to continue to happen? Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. He is not going to help you win this year. You might as well get rid of him. What are you waiting for? You have to pay him. It's over. What? You're going to fire him in the summer? What's that going to do? At least right now, you fire him now and you start looking for a good coach now, right now, and try to get some kind of brain to it. Get someone who actually knows how to coach and sit with LeBron and sit with AD especially and say, listen, we need to find a good coach. I need you to really, really give this coach all the ability to do what he needs to do, because that's usually another barrier that a coach needs to get through is the stars, okay? The stars usually screw things up, too. They need to stop with this. It's not working. Get rid of the problem. Cut the cancer. Cut it. It's over. Stop trying to do chemo on it. Cut it. Get it out. Start over. You'll have a chance. You have a 0% chance of winning this year. Maybe you'll have a 0.5% chance of winning this year if you get rid of them. Get rid of them.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is Gerald Glassford along with Joe Soro, John Costa, and also as well the madman from Toronto. He did get out of Toronto traffic to stop on by. It is truly appreciated. It was part of our playback.tv/Lakers fast break live coverage. It is the Magic Man, Sean Kreis. Sean, great to have you here. I don't want to say this was unexpected, but coming off the double overtime win, you knew the Lakers would come into Houston filled with excuses. When you saw Jay Chess playing only garbage time and Cam Whitmore destroying Houston, you can just sense the excuses coming down the lane. It just seems to me that the Lakers are not in a good place right now, back at your old 500 once again.
Absolutely. And shout out to Joe. I'm sure he didn't want to go off on a rant, but he did it anyway for the good of the squad goals. So props to Joe. And Joe, you do not live in the middle of nowhere. You live in a beautiful city called Temecula. The middle of nowhere would be somewhere like Waterloo, Iowa, or Omaha, Nebraska. That is the middle of nowhere. And that's where we should send Darvin Ham and tie him to a tree. And somebody can get him. Gerald, I just meant that he should just stay there. Okay. I didn't mean anything by that. Okay.
Sorry, Magic. I'm just saying.
No. Send Darvin Ham to Waterloo, Iowa. Put him in a gym. Lock the doors. Keep him inside.
That's better. I like that. There you go. Okay.
Keep them in the gym. Don't let them go outside
Yes.
into the fresh air. Um, okay, so yesterday we were talking about we were emphasizing why this team should not spend valuable assets to kind of mitigate the crap hole that is the Los Angeles Lakers right now, or at least the fans. The fans want something. They want a pound of flesh. We want either Ham, or most of us just want to stand pat at this point because there's no point. There's no point in throwing money down the drain, Gerald, and that's what you'd be doing by trading a first round pick, a player that potentially has 4 or 5 years on a value contract, plus another like 2 or 3 where you're not paying through the teeth unless they're like a super max at like 18 or 24 range. That being said, what this is if you were going to throw money at this situation, here's a good analogy. So when we were in high school, we had a friend named Trent, and Trent had a really, really good part-time job, and he got a really nice Acura Infinity, Gerald. And so he wound it up getting girls that were out of his league. And one day there was this really good-looking woman who started flirting with him, oh, nice car. And like before she even left, I said, Trent, don't date her. And she looked back at me and she gave me like this evil look. I was like, Trent, don't date that. Don't date that girl. She's out of your league, man. And he got really mad at me and he wouldn't talk to me for like a week. But what happened, Gerald? A week later, we were in gym class and he pulls me over to the side. He's like, Sean, he's like, bro, I should have listened to you, man. I should have listened to you. I spent like $500 on 3 dates and she didn't call me back. I was like, dude, I told you this would happen. Like, you don't throw money away. You don't put it in a bad situation, right? You don't date out of your league, right? That's what fans want the Lakers to do right now, Gerald. Spend or sacrifice to get better. There's no point in doing that because our coach is Darvin Ham. You'd be wasting money. You'd be wasting money and you'd be spending assets that are out of your league because we are not in a position to compete for a championship at all. At all. This guy's, as a coach, he is the worst coach I've ever seen in the game of basketball. The worst. And I've seen a lot of really, really bad coaches, Gerald. Jim Boylan, John Boeheim, Chris Forsberg, just to name 3 terrible ones. Darvin Ham is worse than all 3 of those guys combined. And Chris Ford was one of the biggest a-holes that ever walked through a locker room. Like, that Boston Celtics team wanted to murder him, like literally murder him, for the terrible communicator he was, terrible game manager he was, and he was just unfit to be a head coach. And Darvin Ham fits that bill. He's unfit to be an NBA head coach. This is going to be his first, and Joe is correct. This is going to be his first and his last NBA head coaching job. He's going to follow in the footsteps of one David Blatt. Now, the big difference was Blatt had a winning record, beyond a winning record. He had an elite record, but yet his personality did not fit the NBA as a head coach, mostly because he came from Israel and Europe, Gerald, and the philosophies, as you know, in those basketball leagues is slightly different. Just to say it mildly, Ham can't coach. He can't communicate well. He can't in-game manage. I mean, if you watch him, he barely talks. He barely talks to the refs. He just stands with his hands in his pockets, scratching that big dome of his, which I'd like to knock off. And I think at times, Gerald, he's just wondering what he's doing there. He must, because it's completely overwhelming to him. It's completely overwhelming to him. Rui Hashimura got 22 minutes tonight, Gerald. Played efficiently. He played efficiently last game too, Gerald. Rui has been playing efficient the past 3 weeks, and he's getting 18 minutes, 19 minutes, 22 minutes. Meanwhile, Taurean Prince, who I guess has found a way up Darvin Ham's rear like Lemmy Winks did for Mr. Slave in South Park, and he's just his favorite golden child. Can't do any wrong. Can't do any. And for those out there who think, oh well, Darvin Ham likes his guys, and Taurean Prince is going to get paid this summer. Taurean Prince will not get paid this summer. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. You think he's going to get paid this summer? That dude is a flamingo after about 25 minutes. Jelly legs. Like, can't shoot for you know what. His defense is horrid. Horrid. To paraphrase what Kevin Garnett said about Craig Sager's suit, it's horror awful. His defense is horror awful. And you still had LeBron and AD trying to give it a go tonight. And as Joe had said, tomorrow, one or two of them aren't giving it a go. And you still lost. This dude is Bozo Bumpy the Clown. He is not Gerald. He does not. We have had how many guests on this show? Rich 2, Braxton Reynolds, Sam Yip, the guys from We Talk Mavs, Rel and King, over and over and over again. Me and Gerald are trying to find a guest who has one positive thing to say about Darvin Ham's coaching attributes. We are, Gerald. Like, people don't realize we're actually trying to find somebody who has something positive to say about Darvin Ham's coaching abilities, and we cannot. We cannot find that person. It's like looking for Where's Waldo, trying to find somebody who has anything positive to say about Darvin Ham.
Agreed.
And ding dong. And unfortunately, if they haven't fired him now, they're not going to fire him. There's already been reports out by Buha that since if they're not going to fire him before the All-Star break, he's safe. He's safe. So we're stuck with ding dong, ding-a-ling for the rest of this year. And like Joe said, you're just wasting time. That's what this is. It's wasting time. And I feel for my friend, right? Because he has a job, he has a family, he could be doing other things, but he comes on this show because he enjoys talking with people, he enjoys the Lakers, and this is killing him because it wastes his time. It does. And he's often talked on this show and in private about how much he hates that, he detests it, he despises it. But yet he still comes on game after game to do it. And props to Joe for putting squad goals ahead of his own, which is something Darvin Ham could learn from Joe Soro. But he won't because he's a blowhard bum. He's a bum.
Before we go to John Costa, I want to say again, the misunderstanding in the statements made by Sean, please do not misunderstand anything as far as is concerned. It was something that he said. If it was thought of in an inappropriate fashion, please, again, it was not meant in the any type of that realm. Again, I apologize for anyone who took in our comments who took his comments inappropriately. So I just want to say on behalf of Sean and Lakers Fast Break, please, it was not meant in that direction. And it's just we're all upset right now with the loss and with Darvin Ham's coaching. And it's not in regards to that individual in that way.
Oh, my God, Gerald. So, what the hell, man? What the hell?
I'm just trying to tell you, John. I'm just showing the comments. People were misconstruing what you were saying. And we'll just leave it at that.
Fuck what they said.
Sean. And on that note, also here today, a good man indeed. He is the guy behind Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. It is John Costa. And John, good to have you here. Want to go ahead and say that the Lakers unfortunately couldn't get the job done today. Not even close. Several problems all over the place. And again, there's people are frustrated now, as we see. But yes, where do you stand after seeing a game like today and a performance like you saw today in Houston?
Man, I mean, I'm going to echo what everybody's been saying. Frustration with Darvin Ham, frustration with the way the team plays. I mean, we just came off that double overtime game with the Warriors. LeBron's tired, the team's tired. But in that first half, guys, like we just looked it looked hideous. I mean, in that first quarter, the whole game looked hideous, but that first quarter, we give up 42 points. And I just feel like there's no LeBron James or Anthony Davis imposing their will all the entire first half. So that's atrocity. But I mean, game wise, like this was trash. This was trash through and through. But what I want to talk about is I just feel like all of these coaching mistakes that I can't list all the coaching mistakes actually, because the list would be too long, and we have a four-man panel, and I want us to all be able to talk. If I listen,
they had a lot of time to talk. You deserve all the time that you need, my friend.
But so one of the things I want to point out, right, is like Darvin Ham and his mistakes, right? So the Rockets, 3 players just in the first quarter, 3 players on the Rockets score more than 10 points in that first quarter. Okay, Cam Whitmore himself scored 12 points in a row. Okay,
4 minutes
in 4 minutes, right? Exactly, 12 points in a row in 4 minutes. As a coach, like, at some point, like, you got to do something. Like 12 points in a row by one player is insane. And I'm telling you this from somebody who's played basketball. Like someone on the other team scoring 12 points in a row, and you as a coach just sitting there with your hands in your pocket, like how Sean said, scratching your head, doing absolutely nothing, is quite literally insane. Like, that is out of this world, right? Where is the adjustments? Where is any of that? So, okay, that's a mistake. Early in the game, first quarter, our transition defense was terrible the entire game. Another thing, that's a coaching mistake. If I'm coaching and my team is not getting back on defense continuously, if we're continuously getting burnt after we score, or we're not getting back on defense, you know what the heck I'm gonna do? I'm gonna call a timeout. Because I have so many, because that's another mistake that I'll get into that he doesn't do. He has so many damn timeouts, and he doesn't use it and say, "Y'all, get the fudge back on defense." Like, I just don't understand. Like, that is kind of the role of a coach. That's what you're supposed to do. That, like, you're the eyes on the outside of the court. Sometimes, like, I'll be honest, like, when you're in the game, when you're in the middle of it, it's kind of hard to see it, right? But having a bird's eye view, so that's why, sometimes, like, when I'm watching the game and I see something from the TV, I give sometimes the players a benefit of the doubt, because I'm like, you know what, like, it's a lot easier said. We got this great bird's eye view from right here, but the players are, right there in the trenches. It's kind of hard. But Darvin Ham, he's supposed to be that 6th set of eyes that's watching from the side, saying, "Y'all, we're not getting back on defense. Timeout. Let's do this." Okay. Another thing, like I was talking about, the lack of timeouts, guys. Like, that's such a big coaching mistake. Another thing I'll talk about when you play basketball, like, what's the number one way to stop another team's run? Timeouts, right? Like that is the number one way to stop another team's runs. And I think the Rockets probably went on like 3 to 4 different runs just in that second quarter when they blew the lid off this game, and no timeouts. Like, I think, I don't want to misspeak, but I believe it was like in the fourth quarter. We still had 4 timeouts. In the fourth quarter. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And then the biggest mistake of them all, not putting Anthony Davis back in the game.
He did say, Anthony Davis said his groin injury flared up in the second half. I'm noticing it now on Twitter, just to let you know.
I mean, I still like I at
I'm
this
not
point,
telling you excuses. I'm just telling
yeah.
you what was said. And
No, I hear you, I appreciate that, Gerald. You know, keeping me in the best infotainment, Lakers fast break. So I appreciate that, Gerald. But anyway, what I was saying was like, we need every damn win. And did you guys see how Şengün was just attacking Hayes? Like it looked like Hayes was like a middle school child, and Şengün was just like the senior on varsity, and he was just absolutely bullying him, taking shoulder to his chest, and he could do nothing about it. Only thing he could do was foul him, and then Şengün to go to the free throw line. And again, like this is the mistake. Like no, like a coach has to see, like, all right, cool, he's barbecue chicken. I got to take him out the game, and I don't care what's going on with AD. Overall, guys, I'm pissed, and at least my hopes aren't going to get too high because I've already known this isn't a championship team. At this point, it's just about the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of the season. We have our ups like the last games, and then we have our downs like this game.
once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose 135-119. Joe, bringing you back in here again. Check out Joe Soro's nightcap tonight at 11 p.m. When it comes right down to it, Joe, just another piss poor performance from the Lakers, absolutely getting destroyed on the defensive end of that first half. And no amount of a fake comeback was going to help the Lakers at this point in time. But yeah, it just seems like the Lakers, they came in here tired, ready to give out excuses, ready to throw this one away. If that's the case, why have LeBron and AD in there at all?
That's a good question. I don't know. I can't be in a position to answer a question from someone who I believe is not very bright. I don't know what he doesn't know what he's doing. He has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't know when to call a timeout. He doesn't know how to set up lineups. He doesn't know how to adjust to matchups. He doesn't have a coherent offensive set that we could rely on. He is atrocious. He is the worst coach I've ever seen on a Laker team. And I saw Randy Funn coach this team once, but the thing with Randy Funn, he didn't have any talent on the team. And Byron Scott had been brought up today. Byron Scott had a one limb Kobe Bryant and no players. So as much as I never really liked Byron Scott's coaching even before then. You're not going to do much with no talent. This guy has talent on this team, and he's absolutely napalming it. I'm actually very envious of Milwaukee at this point. I would have taken Doc Rivers 100 times out of 100 times at this point. I would have taken Doc Rivers. He would have commanded the respect of LeBron James, Anthony Davis as two stars, and then the role players would have respected him. He still commands respect. He's had some bad instances in the playoffs. I'm not trying to make excuses for Doc, but they usually had the same common denominator. They had certain mental midgets at the end of games and things like that quit or just weren't capable of doing things. And I believe that this team doesn't have any quitters. I don't believe LeBron and AD are quitters, and I don't believe anybody on the team are necessarily quitters and crybabies. They just, at some point, they do reach a limit of nothing's happening. And the Lakers have, there's earmarks everywhere. It was even after a win. Here's this guy doing a press conference talking about, I got to go get rest and get wine and eat food. Have you ever heard a coach talk like that?
It's amazing, Joe. Absolutely amazing.
I've never heard a coach who has sucked at his job talking about going to go drink wine. And I mean, is this guy so delusional that he actually feels defensive about what he's doing? It was the first interview at Media Day, dude. First interview. I knew this guy was a chump. because most of these guys are. I don't know why they get hired. I don't know at what point do these guys go into a world in their head that they actually think what they're doing is right when it's not. And if this is a money thing with Jeannie and Rob, oh my God, you guys got to go too. You guys got to get out of here. But it's like arguing against the NFL, all the garbage that goes on in the NFL. It doesn't matter, folks. 30 million people are still watching each game. So what do we do at this point? The only thing we can do is stop watching. But we don't. So I'm going to end this again with the same button. We are the problem. All of us. We continue to watch this monstrosity. So therefore, they have no reason to do anything. They have no reason. We're watching 82 games, plus the 5 in the preseason, plus whatever play-in, whatever stupid tournament they have in there. We're watching them all. And then on top of that, we're doing radio shows, podcasts for 8 hours. They're sitting there laughing at every single one of us while we bitch and whine. So what now? Where do we go? Am I going to let down an audience now? We have 1,300 plus subscribed to this channel. We've had 2,000 people watching through Facebook. Now what? Now we're stuck in a good way because there are people out there that want to hear what we have to say, that get knowledge from us on what they say, that listen to Sean's cool stories, that listen to John's youthful enthusiasm, that listen to Gerald's mining through all the necessary questions. So now what? Now what? Now what are we going to do? We're in no man's land, and we have to sit here and we have to soak in it and let it burn until a miracle happens where I don't know. Maybe we'll get lucky and Doncic in a year says, "Get me out of here, and I want to go to LA, or I'm gonna, go back to Slovenia." I don't know. I don't know where to go at this point, folks. I don't know. I guess I could always lean back to one thing. The Lakers have given us a lot. 6 championships in a 24-year span is, what do you say? What do you say at that point? I'm trying to rationalize it at this point. I'm trying to put a silver lining to it. But losing is losing. It's just, I'm not thinking about last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I'm thinking about now. I'm thinking about someone who's incapable of doing his job that is still there. This guy has to go, and it's going to be like this pretty much every game the rest of the year.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose 135-119. Sean, just for the record, I was giving you the benefit of the doubt, which is why I was defending you. And again, for those that misunderstood his comments, please, that was not the intent or anything anywhere near what he was trying to say. But let's get back and move on to something even different now. When it comes to the Lakers, it's a bad scene, man. You have these small victories as they had in Golden State, and then you take 2 steps back. This is a lost season, in my opinion, at this point in time. I do not see a way out of this. These fringe marginal trades, as I mentioned in the pregame, they don't help you with the overall picture. All they'll do is just deplete your assets even more. But maybe you see it differently, Magic Man. Again, my good friend, my compadre, a guy that I have so much infinite amount of respect for. I just don't want to see you hurt, and I'm sorry. Did not mean or any intent by that either. I'm apologizing to everyone on this show, so I'll apologize to you as well. But there's no apologies for the Lakers and how bad they're playing right now.
Appreciate it. Sometimes you misspeak, Gerald.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to back you up on.
Fair enough. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Deplete is a very good word. Wasn't in my vocabulary this evening, but that's a good word to use.
Leave it to Rob Pelinka to put it in your vocabulary. How about that?
Mm-hmm. No, we do not want to deplete what we already have, which is gosh, it's not even Davy Jones' locker at this point. It's like, we've got a couple boots and a mirror in there right now with that first round pick. You want to just give that away for, I don't know, DeJounte Murray? No. Did anyone see DeJounte Murray's stellar defense on Luka Doncic the other night?
Only held him to 73 points.
Yeah, it's just 73 points. Yeah, and he was tasked with guarding him for the most part because DeAndre Hunter couldn't guard a lamppost right now.
And he was supposed to be your defensive specialist coming out of college.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Nobody else even close to even that would help out this team. Multiple issues, Gerald, and like for goodness sakes, it would be a ripple effect as well. Because riddle me this out there for everybody, and in other chats as well. Even if the Lakers acquired players that you or me or Gerald or John or Joe would find, good, very good, adequate to try and mitigate some of the problems we have, help me understand why you think Darvin Ham would necessarily play that player. Because Rob Pelinka acquired Rui Hachimura, and Darvin Ham made a conscious effort to sit him, Gerald. And that's where I go back with those two. That was the seminal moment for those two in their professional relationship, because we talked about the resilience of that young man. After that, he didn't sulk, he didn't whine, he didn't complain, he didn't go to the media, he didn't go to Rob Pelinka, he didn't disrupt the chain of command. He took his lumps, took his licks, and he came back the next game and played very well. And it springboarded him into a very productive first round series against Memphis that Taylor Jenkins, we're repeating ourselves again, but Taylor Jenkins dared him to beat the Memphis Grizzlies, and he did it 3 times in a 7-game series. And now, instead of rewarding that performance, Darvin Ham seemingly is, I think there was a disruption in their relationship there, Gerald. And other than in professional terms, I think there's something personal going on with those two. I really do. That's why I think Darvin Ham is reluctant to give him heavy minutes. So if that's the case, then you know what? Trade him, because it would be good for both parties. It would be good for Ham, and it would be good for Rui. Rui gets a fresh start somewhere else with a team that may or may not give him the same kind of playing time, depending on his reputation, as Gerald has said. I mean, even before the Lakers, he was prone to having a 32-point game and then 4-point game the next night. So it's game to game with Rui, but he's been relatively consistent in the 20 minutes he gets, Gerald. D'Lo was due for a game like this, and that's all right. It happens. This is the NBA. He was gonna cool off a little bit from 3, but D'Lo's again a strong-willed, resilient young man. He's gonna come back and play well again. That being said, Joe had a great point. I mean, if you were doing that fake comeback, why wouldn't you put AD back in the game when you've got it down to 10 points? Like, that's basic. Like, John was smiling there. Even Johnny knew, yeah, we're going to insert AD. Joe inserts AD. Everybody else except him, man. And I think it just goes back to, do you know, so Gerald, do you know why? Do you know who invented the telephone, Gerald?
Alexander Graham Bell.
Yes. So Bell was.
Well, that's the one. He was there. He
was there. He was in the lab, so he gets credit for it. But there were other
Joe's
people in the lab. There were other people in the lab. He just gets credit for it. So Bell was the first telecommunications company, right?
I should have said the pizza delivery guy that was delivering pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we give Isaac Newton for inventing gravity. He didn't invent gravity. So Bell gets credit for the telephone. Okay. Do you know why a telephone number is 7 digits, Gerald?
No, that I do not know.
Okay, so the reason why a number is 7 digits is because neuroscientists did experiments and they found that a normal intelligent human being, so average IQ, which is about 100, a person with about 100 IQ can only retain about 7 different like subjects or retain 7 kinds of information. That's why phone numbers. This guy can't even keep like 3 or 4 in his head at one time. Like it's a rollover with coaching, Gerald. It's like turning an engine on. You've got the tranny, you've got the motor, you've got the cylinders, you've got the everything going on. And Darvin Ham is a dead car. He is a dead car. He's like we need as a coach, you need at least like a Honda, like at least a Honda. This guy is like a Lada. He's like one of those old Russian cars that you have to push.
How about
down
the Yugo? Do you remember the Yugo?
I do not. No, I'll have to look that up now.
Look it up. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to look that up. But yeah,
Yugo.
he's one of those guys where you got to push the car down the road to actually get it to start. Because he can't keep track of like 4 or 5 different things in his head. The rotations. How many timeouts do I have? Do we have any challenges? What's the in-game adjustments looking like? How is that other coach responding to my rotations? Are there any other schemes I can run? And do I have the requisite gas to get these guys to the end of the line? That's 7 major components to coaching. He can't even keep track of 4 of those. This guy, we need to jettison this. You know, it's like Bane with that doctor. Instead of Bane, you should just shoot him up in the air with a parachute. Let him land where he lands. That's what the Lakers should do right now. Because we need to hit eject on this season. Or the plane is going to crash right into a mountain.
There's already a crash and burn already, my friend.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we've lost an engine. You're right, Gerald. We've lost an engine. We're losing elevation. So you need to hit eject.
We've lost a wing.
Yeah.
Struggling to fly.
So let me ask you this, John. When it comes right down to it, you see what's going to happen. And tomorrow night, with Anthony Davis saying his groin injury flared up in the second half, and he wasn't able to move how he's accustomed to on either end of the floor. And Ham saying that it's going to be a game time decision now for LeBron and AD. Nastiness by Dylan Brooks aside, and the fact he goaded Vanderbilt into getting ejected. And now they're talking about all the nastiness that he provided in the game. But still, the Lakers were just right from the get-go taken off of their whatever they wanted to do. And just right from the get-go, it was a lost cause. Where do we go from here heading into a back-to-back tomorrow night in Atlanta, John?
You gotta throw the tape away. You gotta throw the tape away. I'm not gonna lie. You gotta throw the tape away.
It's all on digital format, my friend. So
well, you know what you gotta do? I mean, I don't think Darvin Ham will
it from your memory, Johnny. That's it.
Exactly. Like, I don't think Darvin Ham will do this because, like, I don't think he's a good coach. But what a good coach would do in this situation is a good coach would sit his players in his room and say, that was terrible. That was horrendous. We're just going to act like that didn't happen. We're going to put that past us and we're going to move on. We're going to move forward. I mean, look, we lost Vando very early in this game. I don't think that Vando would have stopped this bleeding that it was, but I do think that he would have helped it because, I mean, throughout this game, it was our defense. Like, what was the score in the third quarter? Like 64-94? Like,
they were down by 30.
Yeah, 64-94 in the third quarter. I guarantee, Vando would have helped that out just a tad bit, especially the way Jalen Green was just blowing by people. Like, it was crazy, guys. Like, our perimeter defense is so ridiculously pathetic that Jalen Green was just honestly attacking the hip and blowing past players. He would put his right shoulder down and attack the hip, and couldn't nobody do anything. But what I think moving forward, to answer the question, Gerald, I think we need to put this game behind us. We need to move on. There's a lot of games in the 82 game season, especially on the back-to-back night like this. Especially, I mean, we came off that double overtime game. Now we have this, and then we'll have the back-to-back. So you gotta move on, forget about it. If we don't have no Anthony Davis, yeah, I'm even more concerned than I already was, because one thing I say about this Lakers team is we go as AD goes. If AD doesn't go, we don't go. And if AD is not out there, then I'm even more concerned, because boy, oh boy, did we not see what Sengun was doing to Hayes, and I wonder what the Hawks bigs will do to Hayes. So yeah, we need AD, man. I hope and this is, and real quick, I want to add this, because Anthony Davis is super like injury prone. I mean, throughout his career, he's been super injury prone. Like, I want to give him his credit for what he's done this season, but he's played through a good amount of injuries. And I don't know if you guys have caught, but like on a lot of the broadcasts, is like, that's what they always say. Or like when you hear somebody talk about Anthony Davis, they always say like, he's been able to play through injuries this season. He's been able to play through injuries. Well, here's the real test, Anthony Davis. Are you going to be able to play through these injuries? Because we need you. We're not to the point where we can be taking games off, punting games. We need you. So you going to play through this injury, or what are you going to do, buddy? Magic Man, looks like you have an answer for me.
I do, Johnny. I have a theory behind that, brother. I do. I think it's a good one. I'm almost positive that LeBron invited him over for a dinner at his home, and they had a very long, deep discussion about, dude, you need to be the number one option on this team, because I am 38 years old. I'm turning 39. And part of that is you staying healthy. So what can I do? Help me understand what I can do to help you get through this season healthy. And for the most part, Johnny has, and we still are 500. Because I think LeBron knew deep down, and I think he still does, this is probably his last shot this season, because he's going to be 40 next year. Gerald, Karl Malone, outside of that, not a whole lot of production from a 40-year-old.
No.
So I think this is it. This was LeBron's last season to say, yep, I can give it a go for roughly around 55, maybe 60 games at the most. At the most, I can give you what I got in the tank. And they have just let him down, Gerald. As much as everybody wants to critique LeBron, Rodell, LeBron is 39 years old. You can't expect him to play like he's 29 years old anymore. He can't play 82 games a season anymore. He can't play 78. He can't really play 70. And this was an opportunity for Anthony Davis to take the reins, because LeBron was basically passing the torch to him. Whether or not he took it is another story, but the fact remains is that LeBron said that this is AD's team. So he handed AD the torch. Kobe didn't hand anybody the torch, right? That was the whole Game of Thrones video, Gerald. He's refusing to pass. He's refusing to pass because he wouldn't give up the torch, because nobody was worthy of taking it. LeBron thought highly enough of AD to actually hand the torch over to him. And for the most part, he's played, like, first of all, he should be an all-star starter. You can have two centers. You should have Anthony Davis and Nikola Jokic as your two centers for the Western Conference. That being said, he's not going to be a starter at the All-Star game. They're likely going to overlook him as a All-NBA first team. He'll likely get the second team this year. Even though myself and Joe and other people recognize that if you had even just a smidge, Gerald, better perimeter defense, he would still be that defensive cheat code, man. But he is stuck playing an obsolete obscene, dead in the water drudge of a drop coverage. And I don't want to hear this crap about, oh, well, that you could play drop coverage. You could play drop coverage with AD. You play drop coverage when you have an immobile center. That's why you play drop coverage. All right, out there. Stop. And I know Zangerstein and other people will overanalyze this. The reason you play drop coverage is very simple. You have an immobile center. That's why Milwaukee employed it. Brook Lopez stuck in the mud. He moves like Frankenstein out there. He's like the Rob Gronkowski of the NBA. Just very slow plodding. But yeah, you put him in the right coverages, in the right scheme, he could be a dynamo. And he was for a little bit. But you know who had enough of the drop coverage, Cheryl? It wasn't Brook Lopez. Who had enough of the drop coverage, everybody?
Who's had enough of it? What do you
No,
mean?
who had enough of it on the Bucks? It was Giannis.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was Giannis and they're about to fire Coach Bud. If he didn't win that championship, he would have lost his job because of that drop coverage.
Exactly, Johnny. Like, you should have won a second championship playing like drop coverage or any other defense, right? But Bud wanted to play that defense, and he got caught up in it, Gerald. He got caught up in the blender, and Giannis hit Goify on the blender for Bud. Goify. And we should hit Goify in the blender for Darvin Ham as a coach for the Lakers. The drop coverage is an unmitigated, like, ball-breaking defensive scheme. It doesn't work in the NBA today. There are too many good coaches, too many good scouts, too many half decent shooters in the league that should preclude you. Preclude, that's a big word, I know. Being a little perspicacious right now. Preclude you from playing drop coverage. It's an obsolete defense. It doesn't work. Now, you're not going to play man-to-man anymore, obviously. We know that. The NBA is too skilled to play that. But play different coverages and schemes depending on what your personnel is and who you're against. That's why firing Frank Vogel was a huge mistake, Gerald. Vogel would mix it up. He was a mixed bag, mixed green head coach. That's what he was. He could throw out drop coverage. He could throw out hedging. He could throw out blitzing. He could throw out man. He could throw out zone. I just named 5 right there off the top of my head that he could throw out there instantaneously and understand the personnel meets the matchup. Johnny, go ahead, brother.
Look, Magic Man, I wanted to say this because I was never a big fan of Frank Vogel. I'm not gonna lie, but I also feel like that's because Rob Pelinka messed him over because and here's what I mean by this. Frank Vogel is a defensive-minded coach. And when we won the 2020 championship with him, what were we? We were defensive dogs. Like, couldn't nobody get past us. We had Dwight back there. We had JaVale. We had AD holding it down. We had our Avery Bradley. We had our guards on the perimeter. So we had defensive-minded players with a defensive-minded coach. Worked out. We won a championship. Great. And then all of a sudden, like, I don't understand why Lakers or had a front office decided, oh, hey, we just won a championship with this method, this blueprint. How about we go in the absolute total opposite direction and just go sign Carmelo Anthony and Trevor Ariza, and let's become an offensive-minded team. And then once we try that offensive-minded team the next year after we won that championship, Frank Vogel looked like a terrible coach. Why? Because he's a defensive-minded coach with offensive-minded players. And I just think that I think that, like, we're in a situation right here where it's like I don't think Darvin Ham's defensive minded or offensive minded. He's not a coach minded player. I mean, he's not a coach at all. He should be somewhere at the end of the bench on some assistant coach role or something like that, because that drop coverage and Magic Man, you said I love what you said. You were like, some people sometimes they overanalyze the game, right? And they take too many numbers into it. And like, yes, like, I'm not gonna lie, I think that numbers are important and numbers tell a big story. But after the end of the day, y'all, this is a game. This is a game of basketball, and numbers can't always quantify like everything that goes on within the game. And that drop coverage is so bad, and you talked about why you play it. I think another reason is the only reason why you should be having drop coverage defense is when, like how you said, the other guard who has the ball is a bad shooter, because then you can just drop down and double the big who's going to be rolling to the hoop. I'm going to be honest, guys. I don't think that there is one team in the league right now, because the league is so talented right now, especially at that guard position. I don't think that there's one team right now, maybe the Pistons, but Cade Cunningham got pretty good midi. Maybe the Washington Wizards if Jordan Poole's having a bad night. But I'm being serious. I'm looking through both the Eastern Conference and Western Conference. I don't think there's one team in the NBA that I think like, all right, cool, guys, like it's a good idea to run a drop coverage because we're not really worried about that point guard lighting us up because he can't shoot. Go ahead, look through every team. Look through every team in the NBA. I cannot find one team that's like, all right, this is the game plan for today. Let's run this drop coverage because these guards just can't shoot at all. Why? Because this is the talented heck league. I don't know if I can say that word. This is a super talented league, and everybody can shoot because, I mean, whether we like it or not, Stephen Curry changed the game. And now if you can't shoot as a guard in this league, you'll quickly find your way out of this league, or unless you're just a great like defender. But then you know, you got to be one of those like 6'7", 6'8", run around guard 1 through 4 defenders just to be specialty players. What point I'm getting at here is there's basically no freaking reason on God's green earth to be running drop coverage in today's NBA with how talented these guards are and how everybody can shoot.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose. Unfortunately, they fall to 500 after another miserable performance today, 135 to 119. Joe, I know you had some comments for Isabel that you wanted to go ahead and mention, but yes, another disappointing performance, my friend. And I know you'll mention some more things tonight in Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro at 11 p.m. Pacific.
Well, Isabel was being, I guess, condescending about why LeBron came to LA. LeBron coming to LA makes a lot of sense if you look at his career trajectory. There was nothing else that's going to happen in Cleveland, and these kids were growing up, and most families want to live in better weather and better opportunities and better entertainment, let's say. And LA, when you have money, Southern California, LA has that. If you don't have money in LA, you might as well be living in a trash can. But if you have money, it's one of the best places you can be in. LeBron came to LA, at least the info from deadhead morons. I guess he was coming here to retire. I'm sitting there racking my brain on what kind of stupid comment that is from people who are getting paid to talk sports. If he wanted to retire, he could go retire. He didn't come to LA to retire or go in the movies. Movies is a locked up business, folks. Okay. LeBron, Michael Jordan, Will Chamberlain, like none of these guys have any say in that world. That world is as tight. I'm not going to say that one. Let's just say it's as tight as a brand new shirt. So when we get out of that stupidness, LeBron saw something in LA that I believe he could figure out. He goes, if I go to LA, I'm going to instantly give that team credibility. And then at that point, someone's going to want to come here. He may have talked to Anthony Davis beforehand. I don't know for sure. There's never been a report on it, but he may have. So I believe he knew, again, I got to get out of here if I want to win more. And the open gate was the Lakers. So he comes to LA. What happens? A year later, AD wants to come to LA, and the rest is history. The problem, though, was they lost in 2021 and didn't just sit down for a second and go, all right, guys, this is a unique situation. We have to restart the season 2 months later. We got tired. LeBron got, AD got hurt. It was a unique situation. Let's relax for a second and think about what we want to do next instead of jump into something so quick and completely napalm your team, which is what happened. Because this team over here got this player. Now you're worried about that team and facing them and trying to win a championship. And then you make a horrible trade that has decimated your ability to win a championship again with this particular team. So LeBron did have he did have an influence in destroying this championship team. Had they just hung tight and said, we're going to roll with this team for the next 2 to 3 years, we would not have, I believe, the 2022 and 2023 seasons might have been a little different in terms of the end results.
Oh, you mean we wouldn't field the oldest team ever in the NBA?
No, we wouldn't have. We would have fielded seasoned players, some youth, a lot of youth actually. To be honest with you, you had Caruso was young, late 20s, not even late 20s, 27. That's prime time, prime age for basketball players. You had KCP, who helped Denver win a championship last year. Kuzma's young, might not be what we wanted him to be, but still was good on defense and could give you some points. And obviously won a championship. There was so much there in terms of the correct role players that they got greedy or they got stupid or whatever, and they ended up putting their chips in an area where it they came up craps basically. And everything since then has been a Band-Aid over a compounded bone. It's just terrible. It's terrible, and that's probably where a lot of the anger sits when I'm sitting by myself and thinking about everything. It's just I'm upset that this team never really got it. The LeBron AD era never really got a chance to show itself and go with a consistent team. They just panicked too much. They listened to the wrong things, and then now they're not listening to those things, but they're killing themselves. It's like you wanted to do something here, they're not doing it. You didn't want them to do something here, they did it. And it's unfortunate, man, and it sucks. There's no other way to look at it. There's just no other way to look at it. This thing needs to stop at some point and do what the Niners did with Trey Lance. Yes, they gave up a bunch of draft capital to go get him. They hit the lottery with Purdy. And guess what they did in the end? They said, screw it. We know we spent half a draft for Trey Lance, but he ain't the guy. Get him out of there. And they did. They said, just cut your losses. It's done. There's nothing we can do to fix it. So right now, Rob, Jeannie, wherever the hell you jackasses are, cut the fat. It's over. Cut the fat. It won't matter. Actually, it might be better, honestly. I truly believe the Lakers will play better without Darvin Ham as the coach. Even if it's a mashed up coach by committee. I really believe that. And if you guys have someone in mind that you want to bring in, I don't know. Whatever. Probably not. But if not, if you're going to let the assistant coaches finish out the year, then I hope by the second you fire this chump, you are really looking for the right guy next. Because I'm tired of these coaches. This is the 5th freaking dud the Lakers have gotten in the last 10 years. I'm burnt out from it, man. I mean,
would you include Vogel in that?
No, hell no.
Okay, I wasn't sure because you listed it out, so I apologize.
No, hell no. They treated him. They treated him worse than anybody I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, they from the get-go.
Championship coach. This is not David Blatt. This guy helped you win a championship, and the way he set up the defense that year, how do you not treat that guy with some respect? And you had mentioned how Vogel, Gerald, you had mentioned how Vogel and Sean had mentioned how. And John, too, you all have mentioned this, how Vogel had this interchangeable setup, too. He adapted to certain things. When you look at Game 6 of the 2020 finals, he had started Caruso Caruso had never started until that game. So
And I remember Mark Jackson on the air.
Right.
He was
Mark Jackson said it, and Mark Jackson mentioned it, right? So
He
think
was
about
criticizing Vogel for doing that.
Well, that's why he's sitting in the not in the booth anymore, but that's why he's not a coach anymore and not in the booth. So think about this for a second. If anybody watched Game 5, if you watched Game 5, you saw certain things going on in that game where I'm not going to bring up all the details, but there were some issues from the perimeter that they just couldn't manage. So what did he do? In a couple days, he sat there and he probably talked to his crew. Look, I'm going to start Caruso because we need this particular thing to be solved, and right now is the time to do it. Why? Maybe he sensed they were going to probably be burnt out in Game 6, and if they applied more pressure at that point, which is Caruso's good at, boom, you've got him where you want him. And of course, they end up going up by 30 by the second quarter, and the game was over.
Yeah, it was a brilliant move because once you applied a point of attack defender to Miami's backcourt, Jimmy Butler really didn't have a chance to set up in his office, and that's what Caruso's job was, to prevent Jimmy from setting up in his office by being point of attack. Joe,
agreed. And you cannot sit there and tell me that. I mean, Vogel saw it. Vogel is the head coach. He recognized that there was a deficiency that needed a little tweak. And what did you get? What is the hardest game to win in the NBA? The hardest game to win in the NBA, and it
the
always
last
will
one.
be, is the last one. Okay? The series clinching one, yes, but there's a bigger one. The last one, the one that wins you the chip. And what did the Lakers do? And what did Frank Vogel do to set that up? He set it up. He decides who starts. He made the adjustment. You cannot sit there and tell me that guy does not know how to coach. And you fire him. You fired him. For who? For a guy who right now sits at 30. He might not even be 30, actually. He's by 30 by just name only because he is a head coach. He is the 30th worst coach in the NBA. Yes, Dallas, he's worse than Jason Kidd, believe me. We've seen Jason Kidd coach, and he was a integral part with the Frank Vogel. You know, Sean, you know, some guys are better as number twos, and which is weird to say because Jason Kidd's always been a one in the basketball side of things, but in coaching, it's probably a better two. He was a great two. But coaching matters in those moments. And we're not even getting a little bit. I would even understand if you coached well during the regular season and then got out-coached in the playoffs. Okay, you know, you get out-coached by Steve Kerr, you get out-coached by Greg Popovich, you get out-coached by Will Hardy if he has a championship-type team. Okay, yeah, you know, I mean, hey, he's the better coach. But this guy can't coach even in a preseason game. And it's over. It's tiring. There's no trade other than getting two superstars on this team with LeBron and AD. I'm talking Giannis and Doncic. If you told me, Joe, Darvin will win a championship this year. Oh, yeah? How? Well, we're going to give you Doncic and Giannis. Oh, yeah? For who? They're just going to come and play with LeBron and AD. Okay, yeah, I'll roll with it. I can do that. I can go with that. That's it, folks. That's it. That's it. So finish the job. Finish the job, Rob. Finish it. Just finish the job. The job you screwed over, finish it. Just finish it and get on with our lives. And for the love of God, get someone who can coach. You guys didn't even pick Vogel. That guy fell in your lap, too. That's the hilarious part about that. That was their third choice. Third. They didn't even pick that guy. They got lucky. They got lucky to get LeBron. They got lucky to get AD, and they got lucky to get Frank Vogel. And what did they do? They fired him. For what? For what? Because he didn't get along with Russell Westbrook?
Gerald, I'd appreciate it if you put that quote up that Darvin Ham gave. I've got it in
Which
the
one?
chat.
Which
I've got
one?
it in the chat.
Okay, let me go ahead and I'll see. I'm trying to follow right now. Isabel, there is no players available right now in the trade market that's going to change this team dramatically. The combinations are nice, what you talked about, but they don't move the needle far enough. There is no combinations. The Lakers are not. We're a 500 team. There's no way anyone can say that just a couple moves around the margins or just a couple players added on, their rotation players, even higher level rotation players like DFS and Jeremy Grant or Zach LaVine or whatnot, that's enough to get us in the stratosphere of Boston, Denver, or whoever else you want to throw in there. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. So you're asking me what I need. What we need is not available. Like Joe said, what we need is not available at this point in time. So Magic Man, I'm trying to look for what you're asking. Can you describe it to me real quick?
It's a quote from Lakers Nation that Darvin Ham gave, Gerald. I'm like, I've got it up there. Like I've put it on the screen.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
For God's sakes.
You'll have to forgive me, Magic Man.
Oh,
yeah. Through over 150 comments.
I saw it. It's out there. Just if
I'm scrolling up, man. Man, you talk about
on Lakers. Go on LakersBall.com and
here it is. Find it. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm screen sharing it. Like it should be right beside you, Gerald.
I don't see it. That's why I'm asking. That's why I'm seeing it. That's why I'm saying I don't see it. I don't see it.
Oh my God.
You're getting mad. Oh, there it is. Now I see it because it's underneath my comment section. There you go. Okay. Now go ahead, Sean.
That is a loser right there. That is the textbook definition of a loser. That's loser talk. If I was reading that as an assistant coach, I'd be breaking a urinal. Darvin Ham says it was a tough position to be in as far as playing LeBron AD in the fourth quarter to try and make a run or resting them. At the end of the day, when you get down 30, you almost have to play perfect basketball to finish the game. That is such a loser mentality, Gerald. It really is. It really, really is. When the Kansas City Chiefs were down 28-0 against the Tennessee Titans, Gerald, did Andy Reid throw in the white towel? Did he throw it up there?
San Francisco was down 24-7 at half.
To Mike Vrabel and say, nope, we're done. Nope. I've got Patrick Mahomes. I've got Travis Kelce. We're going to go for it, right? Did Marv Levy throw in the towel when the Buffalo Bills were down 38-3 at halftime against the Houston Oilers? And by the way, Marv had lost 2 Super Bowls at that point. Did he throw up his hands and say, nope, guys, we got to play almost perfect football to win the game? That is such a loser. I would despise a quote like that. Just from a competitive point of view. Just from a competitive point of view. Who cares how much we're down by? There are 12 minutes in a quarter. A lot can happen in 12 minutes, especially if you bear down, white knuckle it. You never know. You just got to keep playing the game. But this guy just loves to hear himself talk and overanalyze situations. He is such a loser. You are a loser, Coach Ham. And I don't want you coaching the Lakers anymore. You are a loser head coach. You think like a loser. You plan like a loser. You scheme like a loser. And you deserve what you're getting right now. You are a chump on the court. You are a chump, sir. And if you got a problem with what I have to say, by all means, my address is 158 Lockheed Drive, Hamilton, Ontario. My phone number is 905. Gerald, I don't care. I don't care. Knock on my door and say, yeah, I got a problem with what you said. Okay, I got a big backyard. Let's go.
Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose, unfortunately, 135-119. Before we get into it, the requisite cool bro questions for Joe and Sean. If you could mention in the comments what your favorite movies are. And for John, the requisite cool bro question for you is that a officially Kobe signed an autograph on your Kobe poster there, or is it just a repro?
It is probably just a repro. My brother got this for me
like
Okay.
like 5 years ago, like before the whole situation.
Okay. I just wanted to ask. I told him I thought it was a repro, so I just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure to let you. Yeah,
probably.
because you probably would be framing that if it was the JID. The
Yeah,
JID. Okay.
absolutely, absolutely would.
By the way, you sound much better now. Thank you. You had the buzzing going on a little while ago. But I do want to go ahead and mention that the Lakers, again, they go roll into Atlanta. Looks like LeBron says, as of now, that he will be playing in tomorrow night's game. AD has said it's going to be up to see how he feels going into it. But he said he was having trouble with the groin. It's so interesting that he's having all this trouble with the groin. But every day on the injury report, when he's listed as questionable, every single day, it's another part of the body that they always talk about him being injured. But need I digress on that? Just little things there. But when it comes right down to it, Matt, John, it seems like the Lakers have just a constantly no direction, that this team just cannot move forward without taking 2 steps back.
Yeah, and you know what a coach is supposed to do for a team: give a team direction, give a team identity, help a team find its identity, help a team figure out its path. And it's very, I don't think it's a coincidence at all that we have an absolute terrible coach. And wow, would you look at that? We have absolute no direction. One game we're up, one game we're down. The only constant so far has been LeBron, AD, and as of late, D'Angelo Russell. Everything else is you don't know what you're gonna get. And this isn't even you don't know what you're gonna get good, because when I think of last year in the playoffs, why were we so good? Why did we make the Western Conference Finals? Because we were so deep. You didn't know what you were going to get. You didn't know if it was going to be a D'Lo 20-point game, a Ruby 20-point game. You knew who LeBron and AD were. You knew they were going to have the ball in their hands. But anybody else, you didn't know who was going to get off. But this year, it's you don't know who's going to play so terrible. You don't know what mistake Darvin Ham is going to make. It's going to be a mistake, but which one is it? And how crucial would that mistake be? That's the point where I'm at with this guy. Honestly, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be real, guys. Like to be honest, I'm not even like that upset, because it's like we're not a championship team anymore. Like I have gave up those hopes a long time ago. I've given up those hopes a long time ago. So at this point, and what's funny is earlier in the season when I still had hope for it, I was saying, like, guys, like, I know Darvin Ham sucks, but we can't fire Darvin Ham midway through the season. Firing a coach and hiring a coach midway through the season is tough, man. Like, that's a tough thing to do. Especially
Milwaukee did it.
Milwaukee did it, but there's a drastic difference between us and Milwaukee. There's a drastic difference between us and Milwaukee, especially roster wise. But what I'll say is we were already struggling with continuity, so I was like, oh, that's tough. But at this point, like, what does continuity matter? Like, for us to get knocked out in the play-in, if we make it there at this point. So to me, continuity doesn't matter at this point. What matters is this isn't going to work anymore. Let's start looking forward to next season. And if we bring in a coach right now, let him get rolling, let him get going, let him figure out the players for this season. And now next season, hey, it's in a way kind of his second season as a coach, and it's not a first season as a coach. And maybe we can get ahead of where we are. Because, yeah, guys, this is this is absolutely ridiculous, guys. Like, absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe. And I talk about this with my brother sometimes, because it's funny how, like, Joe said at the top, I think it's a good circle on the episode. Joe said it at the beginning of the episode. He said, how is it that, like, me, this guy, like this, this random dude, like, oh, like, all of us, I'm sure we all work day jobs. Like I work a job during the day. I have a job that I do, and my job isn't to strictly scout basketball. I love watching basketball. I used to play basketball, and I care deeply about it. But but nonetheless, I think it's ridiculous that me and Joe, Magic Man, Gerald, everybody else that's in this chat, can just so easily point out the issue, and Darvin Ham just there like, man, I wonder what we're gonna do next. I wonder what's gonna work. It's crazy to me. It's quite literally crazy. Starting to think maybe he's sabotaging this team.
Who knows? That may be the case. The way he answers the questions from the press reporters these past few months, it's just been very troubling indeed. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Before we head on out, Joe, what do you have planned for tonight for the awesome new show that you have, Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro?
I'm going to break down some of the stats from tonight's game, the statistics from particular lineups on why certain lineups shouldn't be put in, and I'll see where the alcohol takes me tonight. I might be drinking a little more than normal.
Fair enough. Cool Bro still needs your list, man, because he probably won't be up. He should not be up.
I can't pick a favorite movie like a number one. It's got to be through kind of like on a genre.
Got a group, maybe a group of them?
Yeah. Look, if I had to pick one movie to go home with, My Cousin Vinny.
Okay.
And it's kind of close to Bronx Tale. It's like My Cousin Vinny, Bronx Tale. Bronx Tale is one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. It's a perfect movie. And that's also comparing it to Goodfellas and The Godfather, Shawshank, Schindler's List. It's hard. It's really hard to pick a number one.
It's My Cousin Vinny.
No Country for Old Men. I mean, that movie was. I can watch that movie on a loop nonstop.
Magic Man, agree, disagree?
How can you go wrong with My Cousin Vinny? Like, how? It's like a top. That's the upper echelon of comedies. Like, and Joe Pesci's performance is outstanding. That's probably a third movie he should have won an Oscar for.
Well, definitely a large crowd tonight. Hopefully we provided enough therapy for you tonight and this evening. Lakers once again lose.
Especially the Jerry Callow line.
CALLO.
Jerry Gallo's dead.
Are we led to believe that boiling water soaks in a bowl faster in your kitchen than any place on the face of the earth? Perhaps the laws of physics cease to exist on your stove. Were these magic grits? I could still hear my dad hyperventilating in that scene. He wasn't hyperventilating. You know how older gentlemen would...
Yeah, like exasperated.
He was dying for all I know.
No air left in his lungs.
Could
He's
not
laughing so hard.
Breathe and laugh and exist. And at that moment, he was dying. And then he came back to life. Oh, man. It's one of those. And, of course, Marissa Tomei. And no, I hate him. Miss Vito. And when when I was a kid watching that, a lot of times you don't catch things, and then you get older and you start catching this and this and that. I think a lot of it too is I related to some of the dialogue. It's stuff that I grew up around. So when he's irritated and she brings him the pictures. Oh shit, honey! Look, the case breaker. Me in the shower. I love this. This is it. Oh man, yeah. That's an all timer, man. That one I could take home if I had to pick one.
Once again, the Lakers do lose 135.
John's looking at us like, what the hell are these schmucks talking about?
I'm not gonna lie, guys.
You ever seen it, John?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a big movie guy. I'm the type that's like, man, like I gotta sit there for like 2 hours. Like That's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but there are some great movies. But I also
Tubi,
think
I've actually seen the movie, so
I-
no, I know. I already
I
know.
also think some of those movies are out of my my date range. To be honest,
It's a very good movie and it's very enjoyable. So hopefully everybody still gets a chance to try to find where it's at, and hopefully they'll get a chance to go ahead and check it out. But it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do lose 135 to 119. We'll be back tomorrow for hopefully not more pain on a back-to-back. Hopefully more something a little bit more enjoyable. We'll see. AD is going to be a game time decision. LeBron is swearing that he'll play in the game. We'll see if that actually happens. But it is the Lakers in Atlanta tomorrow. Don't forget tonight here in just a little bit, in 2 hours, it's Joe Soro having a nightcap. Lakers nightcap with Joe Soro. Be part of that tonight at 11 p.m. Pacific. Appreciate everyone being here. Big crowd tonight. We actually reached over triple digits tonight. So it was actually very enjoyable to be a great part of that. And looking forward again to having you part of what we do here. But Magic Man, any last thoughts before we head on out?
Yeah, if Cool Bro, if you really want a mustache like Kurt Russell had in Tombstone, you need a lot of wax and you need a lot of time in the mirror, because that old-timey wax, that grandpa's old wax, they don't make that anymore. And even Raleigh Fingers, is pretty good as it was, he couldn't pull off that look. Go for Cool Bro, if you're gonna go for like a mustache, look up Bass Reeves. Look up Bass Reeves. Go for that mustache.
John, what you got cooking at Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk for everyone out there, and why they need to subscribe to your great channels?
come check us out. Come subscribe. Got 2 channels: Lakers Corner, where it's bringing you all type of Lakers content, talking about all Lakers things. That's just on YouTube. And then Clutch Talk, that's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. That's an NBA talk show, dropping 2 episodes per week, keeping you up to date with all things NBA. But as always, appreciate you guys for being on here. I love the post game shows, and hopefully tomorrow we have a little bit of a better one, man, because today was a little bit upsetting.
Upsetting and angry indeed. But Joe, here we go. Any last thoughts before we head on out?
I'm done. Hope there's no hope. The hopes are gone. Every
I was
game to
expecting
me
just
will
a
be a
no.
loss unless they surprise me.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Indeed.
The only time hope will come by is when you cut the ham out. Sorry.
Okay. But it is the Lakers fast break. It is
Better
Joe
convert
Soro.
to Islam, everyone. Maybe that'll help. Or
We're just going all over the place.
Yeah,
tonight.
that was random.
just saying, those who they don't like pork products.
Cool, bro. Yes. Just go with that handlebar mustache and see how it goes with the ladies right there.
Ladies don't like mustaches, folks. This is not the 1976.
Actually, mustaches are
Oscars.
back, sir, and ladies love the mustache. I'm sorry. I know you guys in California are pansies, especially the ones who don't grow facial hair, but chicks dig the stash again, Joe.
Okay.
Me and Joe holding it down.
You're
Cali.
going to tell me the tooth fairy exists too?
No, I mean, but help yourself to a GQ magazine, or talk to women outside of
GQ magazine. Didn't they
talk to women outside of your little suburb there, where the 40-year-old wine moms who wouldn't know an attractive guy if it walked right by him, Joe.
Didn't GQ vote Man of the Year with a lady wearing a
It
suit
doesn't
or
matter.
something?
You're surrounded by 40-year-old wine moms. What do you know about
40-year-old
fashion?
moms. No,
Sounds
most of the women here like desert rats.
I don't even know what
with
a
the flat
desert rat
build
is.
and motocross type look, guys.
I don't.
40-year-old
Oh, okay.
grandma.
The douchey pencil beards.
The Chads with the flat build hats, and then one area is sleeved. All the guys that if it came
Okay,
down
so
to
we're in California. We're back to
I'm in Temecula. Remember, Temecula has a little bit more of a
1995
conservative
look. The 1995 look. Okay. All right. Just show you right there.
John, do you have any room in Lakers corner?
Do I have any? I got all the room in the world, man. I do.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. Sean's just like stoned. He's like, Joe's looking at Sean. I feel like I'm on the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. That's the way.
Oh, Joe's become a product of his environment.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, that's the one good thing you can do.
Like this. Flat build sleeve dudes. What are you talking about?
Oh, really? That's not what you said. That's not what you said the other day.
Huh?
Wow.
What did I say the other day?
All right. And on that note,
this is the first time we've talked about mustaches, so I don't know where you're going.
No,
sure.
This isn't the first time we've talked about mustaches. You have a memory like a mule. You have a memory like a mule. You can't remember what you said 7 minutes ago. You already said that before.
Well.
You already said that before. So shut up.
Welcome, Sovereign, and thanks so much for joining us. You've come in right in time.
It is the memory of a wet fart.
Memory of a wet fart is crazy.
Okay. And on that note, it is the Lakers.
No sense.
It sounded funny though. But it's the Lakers fast break. It is Gerald Glassford along with Magic Man, Sean Grice, Joe Soro from LakersBall.com as Ox1947. Of course, Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro and the guy behind Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner, John Costa. Indeed. So for all these great guys, it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening. Truly appreciate it. We'll see you tomorrow for pregame, the game against Atlanta. Of course, right there on playback, the postgame. But for now, we'll see you again tomorrow. But also as well, we'll see you later tonight for a nightcap, a Lakers nightcap with Joe Soro right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.